Charles here from the Traders Corner. Today, we're going to be talking about what is day trading. Now, we're looking at the same exact chart that we were just looking at when we were looking at for swing trading, but again, because it's just kind of using the same type of possible time frames, right? Because as a day trader, and this is how I did my day trading setup as well, you might start on the daily chart in terms of your analysis and then just go all the way down to the 1 minute for your entry, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But you might also just start on the 1 hour or the 15 minute. Because again, like I'm saying, as a day trader or an intraday trader, you only care about the day's move. You're not so much concerned with the overall, the longer term trend. While you think it might be important to understand it, and I definitely support that idea, that it's important to understand the overall trend so you don't get run over by it, you may say to yourself, well, yes, the overall trend is down, but for whatever reason, I'm bullish today, and so that being said, I'm going to look to take buys, right? So that is the idea of being an intraday trader. It's very just simply, yes, I understand what might be going on a longer term basis, but what do I think might happen today, right? And you might have different ideas on, well, you should never go against the trend, fair. Or you might say to yourself, you know what, I do go against the trend and I win sometimes, fair again, because it's all about what works for you. But understanding that the main thing that kind of differentiates day trading, intraday trading from other, I guess you would say, types or categories of trading like swing trading or scalping is, again, the time horizon, right? So with intraday trading, like the name suggests, you're really looking at that day's trading. That generally you're going to open and close your trades down in the same day. Now, I have had experiences where I was an intraday trader where I opened a trade and it just didn't have enough oomph in it, to get to either my stop loss or my take profit before the day was over. Now, in that situation, you can have different rules around what you do. You can say to yourself, I'm gonna leave it. You can say, leave it for at least another day. You can say, I'm gonna leave it for at least a week, all that kind of stuff. Or you could say, if it's not done by the end of the day, I close it down where it's at. But at the end of the day, your goal in that trade was not for you to be in this trade past today, right? You wanted to be in the trade for today and today only, whether it was a stop loss or a take profit. Right now, what you do with that information when you are not in that trade for today or today only is completely up to you. But generally, the idea again is like your expected or your ideal time horizon as an intraday trader is generally within that same day. Now, it's not as short as a scalper's might be, because a scalper might look at literally within an hour to two, right, or maybe even less time than that. And again, that shorter time frame generally kind of correlates well with the amount of move that you're looking to take. And this is another big differentiator between intraday traders and scalpers as well. Because I'll give you myself as an example. On average, the moves that I was looking for on something like Euro USD, right? When I was intraday trading Euro USD most recently, things like 30, 40, 50 pips, right? Probably didn't get above 50. If I was getting above 50, that was probably a big move and maybe there's a lot of volume in that day. But generally like 30, 40, 50 pips, right? Whereas a scalper might look for 5 pips, right? Or they might look for 10 pips, right? Where that might be a little bit small for me. That was generally like my stop loss size, right? Like my stop loss size was probably about like 5, probably more on the side of 10 on average pips, right? So that's kind of the difference in terms of scalpers versus intraday traders. Intraday traders tend to look for a bit longer moves. Not too long, not as long as a swing trader, but a bit longer moves than scalpers. And again, much like swing traders, we have a lower frequency than scalpers do. So again, I'll give you myself as an example. When I was intraday trading, I had a goal of not trading more than 3 times a day. If I was happy if I took one really good trade, like that was it. I took one really good trade, and then if before work started another one set up, I would take another one, you know what I mean? And then if that was it, and then I took 2 trades for the day, but I generally took a trade a week, There were some weeks where I didn't trade because I was focusing only on 3 securities at the time. So there were some weeks when just the market was not in a situation for me to trade because I am a believer of trading with the trend. So sometimes I'm gonna have to wait for the trend to quote unquote set itself back up as it pertains to my strategy, right? So there were some weeks where I didn't trade, but generally in those weeks when I was trading, I would take about a trade a day. I wouldn't trade every single day, but I would trade at least Monday, probably at least like I'm not saying that this happened every single week, but generally the average was I would trade Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly Thursday. Probably didn't really get many trades on Friday on average, unless it was like an important Friday or something was happening on that Friday, that kind of stuff, right? So that's the kind of the idea of intraday trading. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about with intraday trading is this idea of people often, especially in the trading space, people often tell you that if you have a job, you should shy away from intraday trading because it's not going to be good for you in terms of your schedule. And I just want to push back on that idea and again use myself as an example. I work a 9 to 5 now, right? And like I was saying, I've shifted my strategy from a swing trading strategy to an intraday strategy, right? And I made it a lot more intraday. And the big reason I did that was actually for the benefit of my schedule. Now that might sound counterintuitive because you might say, well, if you're a swing trader, you have, more time to analyze the markets. It's a bit easier on your schedule. Yes, but also if you're a swing trader, you're also in these trades for a longer period of time. So now you're worried about them for a longer period of time. So now when I'm at work, I'm worried about a trade. When I am out on, at the end of the day on a Thursday and I'm at the gym or something like that, I'm worried about a trade. Whereas if I'm an intraday trader, I'm usually closing it down within that same day. And better yet, if it's a loss, generally it happens within a few hours, And so that being said, I generally know how my day ended fairly quickly, and I can kind of stop worrying about it, stop worrying about the trade, stop worrying about what might come next in the market, and just start worrying about decompressing, worrying about the next day, my next trading day, all that kind of stuff, right? It just makes it easier for me to take what happened, decompress it, flush it out, and say, okay, what happens next? And on top of that, the biggest thing I've seen is with intraday trading especially, and you can't do this with swing trading because you don't know when the opportunities might present themselves. But with intraday trading specifically, you can really, especially if you think about this at the beginning of your strategy development, you can really pick the time in which you want to be trading very easily, much more easily than swing traders, in my opinion, right? Now, why is that the case? Well, because again, like I'm saying, if you're only worried about being in a trade for 3 to 4 hours or something like that, and you generally take a trade a day, then generally speaking, the market kind of moves at similar times, right? If you start to get into the market, you start to see that the market generally starts to move around certain times, all that kind of stuff, right? And so you can say to yourself, well, this is a trend following strategy, yada yada. I want to be on the side of the trend starting. What time does the trend generally start? Does that work for me in my job schedule? No. Yes. Blah, blah, blah. Or I actually want to trade the Asian range. Well, what time is the Asian range? Well, the Asian range is from this time to this time. Does that work with me in my job schedule? Oh, I want to trade London. Okay, well, why do I want to trade London? What's in London that I want to trade? You see what I'm saying in terms of it's a lot easier for you to pick the periods in the day in which you trade, whereas with a swing trader, and this is my own personal experience, I might be at work and, I might set an alert, right? But I might be at work in a meeting and then it hits my alert. And then what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to ask the people at my meeting to stop looking at me while I enter this trade? No, now I gotta let that one go. And maybe I've been waiting on that trade for a week. That's gonna piss you off, and then now you're gonna bring that into your next trade. So just kind of think about that in terms of intraday trading as a whole. But yeah, that's kind of understanding what intraday trading even is, and understanding that don't knock it until you try it almost, right? And I'm not saying that everybody has to be an intraday trader because some people might resonate more with swing trading, and if that's the case, great. But all I'm saying is don't let somebody else's opinion of what intraday trading and how it should work in your schedule be the deciding factor on whether or not you do it. Try it out for yourself. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. Hope it provides some value to you. Join us again next time.